In this training session, we will discuss the general ledger fixed asset capability of the system. A fixed asset is a large item which at the time of purchase is designated as an asset in your company's balance sheet. The amount that is charged to the fixed asset account on the balance sheet is the monetary value of the asset. For most fixed assets, the value of the asset diminishes as time goes by. For example, a company pickup truck may have been purchased for $24,000. The value of the truck immediately begins to diminish as soon as it is purchased. Since the approximate value of your asset should be reflected in the balance sheet at all times, it's necessary to periodically adjust the value in the balance sheet by entering a depreciation transaction, which consists of a credit to the asset account and a debit to a depreciation expense account in the income statement. Before starting to make depreciation entries, you must first obtain a depreciation schedule, or a list of how much the depreciation entry should be each month. This schedule can be simple, such as the straight line method, in which the asset value is decreased by the same amount each month, or more complex, such as the double rate declining balance method, in which the asset value is decreased by larger amounts during the first months of the schedule and by smaller amounts toward the end. The system can automatically create the depreciation schedule for you and monthly create a batch of transactions to accomplish the depreciation. To set up a schedule for a fixed asset, select Fixed Assets from the General Ledger application menu. If the equipment costing module has been purchased and pieces of equipment have already been entered, they will appear in the list box as fixed assets. Otherwise, press the Insert button to enter a new fixed asset. In this screen, enter an ID number for the asset and a long description. Indicate the purchase date, the value of the asset at the time of purchase, the salvage value, and the number of years to depreciate the asset. The salvage value is the anticipated value of the asset at the end of the full depreciation period. For example, if we purchased the asset at a value of $32,000 in June of 2008, we may determine that at the end of 12 years, the value of the asset will be $1,500. Now we enter the asset account. This is the balance sheet account number that will be credited when we make our depreciation entries. Now we must specify where the expense or debit transaction will be recorded. If the equipment costing module has been purchased, we can select a depreciation cost category that has previously been assigned to this piece of equipment. Otherwise, we select a general ledger expense account. Once you have entered all the appropriate information, click on the Calculate Schedule button. The system will create a depreciation schedule for the asset based on your entries. This schedule includes one entry for each month between the date of purchase and the end of the depreciation time frame. Now you can choose which of these methods you wish to use by clicking on the appropriate radio button. The values in the schedule list box change accordingly. To see a graphic representation of the depreciation schedule, click on the Graph button. On this screen, you can see a bar chart representing the amount of anticipated depreciation each year for the three standard depreciation methods. You can also see a line chart showing the value of the asset throughout the depreciation time frame. We'll select the double rate declining balance method. Now our setup is complete. As you can see, we have also created a schedule for some other assets. At this point, the process of creating a monthly depreciation transaction batch is very simple. Just click this Create Depreciation Batch button, and the system will show a list of asset values to be depreciated this month. Here you can select the fiscal period and date for the transactions. and specify which GL transaction batch they should be placed in. Click the Proceed button, and the system creates the transactions. Now we can go to the selected transaction batch and see the transactions waiting to be posted. At this point, the transactions can be edited, proof-listed, and posted. And this concludes this training session on General Ledger Fixed Assets.